So, a lot of you have been asking me about how to simulate geometry nodes. And for the longest time, the workaround, unfortunately, was to convert your hair to the particle system, which is kind of a bogus workaround. It works, but not very good. And you don't keep the control over it. However, I've been seeing a lot of murmurs about the new Blender 5.2 release, and it looks like it is on the horizon. So if we actually check into the geometry nodes section of the release notes, and right up here on top, physics, this release comes with a new experimental physics system with an initial focus on hair and cloth. Also see physics release notes. So really exciting stuff. So I figured we'd spend a little bit of time reading into it and seeing what that physics and simulation is going to look like. So there are new experimental geometry nodes based on physics systems for hair and cloth. They're experimental in this release because it's hard to lock in design without more widespread testing first. So while we try not to break them in the next release, it's hard to be sure it won't happen yet. So for cloth dynamics, the new cloth dynamics modifier and node group can be added to any mesh to give it cloth-like behavior. It supports various features built in like pinning, stretchiness, bendiness controls, and tearing, which is great. That means you don't have to, again, convert the mesh. So cloth dynamics, you just add that as a modifier. I mean, that looks so easy, so painless. This asset can also be used as a node group. So we have the grid added, and then you just add cloth dynamics as its own node group. Okay, so it's just pinning a certain vertice by vertex number. That's great. That's excellent. Hair dynamics, which is more what you guys have been asking me to cover, but finally, hair dynamics works similarly, but requires a bit more setup because it requires the surface of the hair it's attached to. When using the updated empty hair operator in the add menu, this setup is done automatically. Just kind of the preferable way to go about it, in my opinion. Add the empty hair. Paint on the follicles. Ah, there's a physics drop down now. That's crazy. I mean, that's just nuts. The hair dynamics, you can control all the things. It'd be really, I'm really curious to see how well this will play along with all the different modifiers that you put, like the clumping and the interpolation and stuff like that. That's so cool. I actually wanted to take a little better look at some of these settings here. We have the solver, the structure, which is mass, friction, stretchiness, bendiness, root bendiness, and then randomness. And there's damping, surface collision, gravity, effectors, output attribution advantage. Okay. Note how this also adds the new capture rest geometry modifier to the surface mesh. This is required for the dynamics modifier to know how the surface changed from the rest of the deformed state. This data is stored in the new geometry bundles. A fully procedural setup within geometry nodes is possible too. Let's see what they got here. So we got the icosphere, and then the capture rest geometry, transform geometry, generate the hair curves, set attachment surface, and then the hair dynamics has its own. So instead of having a giant modifier stack, you can probably all just have it in one geometry node graph. And then we'll go over effectors. An effector is anything that impacts the simulation. The hair and cloth dynamics groups have a bunch of built-in effectors for ease of use, like gravity and surface collision. It is also possible to pass in additional effectors, though. Currently, there are three types of customizable effectors available. There's a collider. Any closed mesh can be used as a collider. Custom force, a specialized effector that allows computing custom force vectors for each point. And then a custom effector allows injecting fully custom behavior at specific stages into the simulation by using a closure. Additional effectors can be added to the dynamic assets in two ways. Effector collection. One can create a collection containing objects which have effector information stored. An effector bundle. In a node-based workflow, one can create a bundle containing an arbitrary number of effectors. Collider. A collider object is created by adding a collider modifier to it. This uses the geometry at that point in the modifier stack as a collision mesh, which is really not that different, I think, than going to the physics and just assigning it as a collider. So we have deforming, boundary, edge contacts, margin, friction, softness. Oh, okay, so margin is just kind of how far out from the mesh. Cool. In a fully procedural setup, one can use the collider effector bundle and pass into the dynamic node. To pass in multiple effectors, a combined bundle node can be used. So cube to a transform geometry to move it around, and then we have that going into a collider. And then we have the grid mesh, cloth dynamics, and then that is the effector. Okay, and then just join them all into one mesh at the end. They make this all look so simple. It works the same way for hair. Good. Forces. Besides built-in gravity, there are no ready-to-use forces for the system yet. However, one can easily build custom forces. Okay. We have an empty, subtracted from the position, scale, custom force, full grid. So the custom force is this an empty subtracted from the position. Okay. Oh. So it's just like a pull back to the empty. The setup can be modified to create custom force objects. The set effector asset attaches effector bundles to a geometry so that the simulation finds it later on. This also works very well together with the new support for geometry nodes on empty objects, which is great. Yeah, you can add geometry nodes to empty objects. That way, it doesn't have to be mesh, doesn't have to take up space. It can just be an empty. So we have the attraction force, which I think is the same. No, not quite the same thing we just saw. Input a strength, which is just the float. multiplies versus the position, scale, and then the custom force. So force, object space. Okay. So yeah, it's just pulling to the location of the MT. Custom effectors. Custom effectors can be used to inject fully custom behavior into the simulation using closures. It runs at the specified stage, e.g. post-solve, in the simulation loop. Since the geometry is in a simulation space, which usually matches world space unless otherwise specified, the two world transform is provided, which contains information for how to transform the geometry into world space, from which it could be transformed into any space necessary. This reminds me a little now of what Houdini does. Filters. Oh, I saw that in the dropdowns. Okay. Vectors can have a filter to determine which geometries they affect. The filtering system uses tags. Each simulated geometry can have one or multiple tags. An effector can then specify which tags it should affect. Filter dropdown, and we hit A. Uh-oh. Okay, that's cool. So that way, if you want wind, for instance, or like a certain force on a certain cloth or hair, you can have that and not have it affect another. And that's really simple, just the filter tag. And the filter can be anything. So that seems really powerful. So this is probably, I'm guessing, the backbone to the physics here. The XPBD solver. The cloth and hair dynamics assets are internally powered by a new built-in XPBD solver node. It does the heavy lifting, solving various constraint types. The assets build a use case specific declarative system around the built-in node. For more advanced users, there are two main approaches of customizing the simulation at a deeper level. One, adapt the hair and cloth dynamic node groups. These are fairly hackable, i.e., one can just add or remove constraints as needed in a declarative fashion. With this one one is building on top of the XPBD simulation framework. Two, build a completely new simulation system directly on top of the built-in XPBD solver node. This is quite a bit harder as the solver needs a lot of information in the form of type bundles and attributes. Interesting. I wouldn't know anything about this. So there you have it. The hair and cloth sim is right there on the horizon. It looks like it'll be releasing July 8th. So I'm very excited to test this out, and it looks like it's super powerful, super easy. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that you'll be able to groom a hair and keep that hair likeness all the way through the simulation. So I'll keep you guys up to date as I know more and as I have a workflow with this. Until then, see ya.